How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again with another Hot Toys figure review. And this time we're taking a look at the TMS 114 1/6 scale feral predator from the movie Prey. As usual, we're going to start the review off with the first category being the source information. Now, this might cause some debate. Some people might not agree with my views, but it's all okay. But as long as we keep our debates civilized in the comments, that's all I ask for. We'll just get the negative stuff out of the way first. That I thought the movie could have done better. My main concern being the character Naru. I could tell from the beginning, pretty much from the beginning of the movie, that it was a tad bit woke for my taste. And I could tell that they were falling for that that trend, that fad right now that Marvel is going through with all their movies. And you know, it's all right. Marvel can get away with it because that's mostly all fiction. Yeah, and like all fantasy basically. And Prey does have it does have fantasy in it. Like, you know, a lot of this stuff isn't real, like, you know, the Predator and all this other stuff, the Yautja that we're fighting. But that being said, it does deal with historical facts, like based on reality, you know, based on real time periods and stuff like that. So when they introduced the character Naru, you could tell, like, you know, she's a girl who basically wanted to live the lifestyle of, because, you know, she grew up in the Comanche tribe, and she wanted to be a Comanche warrior, which I have to tell you guys that that wasn't common. You know, like, it was pretty much 1 out of a billion chances that there was female Comanche warriors. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that the females didn't know how to fight, because they did. But whenever they didn't fight because they chose to fight. They only fought when if the situation demanded it, you know? Their roles, the females' role in the Comanche tribes was not being a warrior. It wasn't being a hunter for food. They didn't have to do with all that stuff. Their primary role was to look after the families and the camp and the community. So, you know, the children that they would take care of. Yeah, so like I was saying, the only times that they fought was when they had to fight. So, for example, like when if their village or tribe or community was being threatened, like if there were enemies raiding their camps or whatever, that's when they would fight. and they would choose to defend their people, So that's why I had a hard time believing the whole story of Naru. Like, oh yeah, and I want to be a warrior, and they said, okay, go ahead. So yeah, I didn't believe that. That broke my immersion in the movie. Um, so yeah, that was my problem with that character. It kind of reminded me of what they did with Captain Carter, uh, the Marvel movie, where oh yeah, instead of giving Steve Rogers the super soldier serum, we could give Peggy Carter the super soldier serum. See, that's another thing that is one out of a billion chances that would actually happen during that time period, because what they're doing is injecting modern society into history, like back then, where things like that just didn't happen, you know? It was a completely different lifestyle back then. They didn't have the same culture, they didn't have the same beliefs. So, yeah. I hate it when they do that, Like, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Don't crucify me because of that. Like, if they would have made it more believable, like say that uh, some force destroyed Naru's entire village or people or whatever, and she was the only one left, and she was out for vengeance, like say that her village was raided and she failed to save everyone, or she just wasn't aware of the village being raided because she was out um, on an errand or something. I don't know. And she comes back and she finds her village destroyed. Um, Whether it was destroyed by the predator or raiders, she goes out looking for vengeance, and since she's the only one left, she has no choice but to become a warrior. I would believe that even more, you know? So, yeah. And, I did see the interview with the actress who played Naru, and they were talking about whether the movie was actually woke or not, and she denies it. She says it wasn't, but there was aspects to the movie being woke. Even if there were minor, there was some wokeness in it. There's no denying that. But yeah, so that was one thing that bothered me about it, and that they could have done better by telling the story better. But the other thing that bothered me was the design of the predator himself. Um, yeah, like I really didn't like it, especially in the face. They basically made him look like a cockroach. And the director explains that by saying, he's from a different part of the Yautja Prime planet, where these predators are actually more focused on eating bones and stuff. And the Yautja that we all know, like the jungle hunter, is focused on eating the actual meat and stuff, So I don't know. I mean, you can change the certain features of the appearance of the predators, but I just think that they changed too much the aspect of the predator. They just took it a little bit too far. Like I didn't mind the way the predator looked in like the Predators movie with Adrian Brody. Uh, you know, the Berserker Predator, he had a different look, but it wasn't too different from the main appearance that we all know. But this time, I think they just took it a little bit too far, and it just keeps getting worse with every movie that comes out. Like this new Predator Badlands movie. The the Predator that's in training that is pretty much a rookie. I really don't like the way that looks. It just like I said, it just keeps getting worse and worse with the way they're making the Predators look. So yeah. But anyway, those are all the negatives from this movie. I'm not saying that it's a bad movie or anything, and yeah, like those are just the cons that I found in the movie. But we're gonna talk about the pros now. I do like how they took it even further back in history. Like you know, this was set in 1719, if I'm not mistaken. So you know they chose to go with the Comanche warriors, and I thought that was an amazing concept because we had never seen that before. And even the predator himself, his weapons and stuff, they're still not that much advanced. So you know he's still kind of like an Indian himself. He doesn't have a plasma caster or you know anything like that. So and then the biomass too is still a little bit ancient. So I did like that. Gives you a sense of how things used to be before what we all know now. And so I did like that, and I did like the story too. The action in it was really cool. There was a lot of cool fight scenes in there. Yeah, the story itself on how the Comanches were supposed to deal with this kind of threat that they never faced before, that was pretty cool. And then how they had that healing herb, which is supposed to lower the body temperature on a human body, and how they used it to camouflage themselves through the predator's biomask. That was cool. Um, the final battle too, that was pretty awesome between the feral predator and Naru. That was pretty cool. Uh, so yeah, uh, eh, the movie had amazing potential. It was awesome in a lot of aspects. Oh, and the other thing that I liked about it too was that we actually got to see uh, what the predator was up to before he started hunting humans, which is something that we didn't see in the original. I think it was 1987 Predator movie with Arnold. In that movie with Arnold, you could see that the predator was already wearing like bone necklaces and sashes and stuff like that. So but we never got to see how he got those. And in this movie, in Prey, you know, he before he started hunting the humans, he was hunting. First, he hunted the snake, and then he hunted a wolf, and then he hunted a bear. So all of that was that was pretty awesome, because that is dead on to what what we would be seeing an actual predator do, a yautja. They'd be hunting all that stuff and moving on to bigger game each time that they got a kill. So they got the lore and the culture of a yautja spot on. I definitely like that about the movie. But yeah, anyway, as for the source information on the movie, I think it did have its negatives and it did have its positives. So I'm going to go with giving it an 8 out of 10. All right, so that does it for the source information. Now we're going to move on to the next category. All right, so now we've made it to the category of packaging. And I got to say that this packaging is pretty cool. But we'll start as usual. On the top, you get the 20th Century Studios Prey logo. And then in the background, there's like a whole design. You get some of the Predator's blood on the top left-hand corner of the box. In the background, front and center, you get the biomask from the feral predator, which is pretty cool. And some more blood on the bottom left and some on the bottom right too. And then on the bottom, it says Feral Predator TMS 114, 16 scale collectible figure. Then you get the Hot Toys logo right below that. Then on one side, it says Feral Predator again. The same stuff that I said in the front. More blood on the bottom. The Hot Toys logo again on the bottom. More blood on the top. On the other side, pretty much the same thing. Nothing really different. On the back, you get the Hot Toys logo on the very top. Then you get the logos from all the distributors of Hot Toys products and the stores that sell Hot Toys products. And then you get the warnings that nobody really reads. On the very bottom, you get the barcode. And on the bottom right, you get the Disney sticker or a seal of approval. And on the top, you get like this mesh type pattern on the background. I think it's supposed to represent his stealth camouflage when he, when he comes into it or when he comes out of it. You always see like this mesh pattern that forms over his body. So yeah, and then you get the Prey logo again, and then it says Feral Predator again, just like it says on the rest of the box. And then same thing on the bottom. And then once we remove the sleeve, if I could do it with one hand. There we go. Almost there. All right, we got it. So you get the window showing the blister and the figure and all of its accessories. But of course, it's not in there because I already took it out. So yeah. Again, we get the mesh pattern from his stealth camouflage. And on the back, we get a picture of the predator, the feral predator. I think this is an image of the actual predator from the movie. I don't think it's the figure. At least I think. It looks like that. But anyway, there's also a picture on the bottom left and on the bottom right. I think those are from the figure. That's what they look like to me. So yeah. And then in the center, we get the Hot Toys logo. And it says Hot Toys presents Feral Predator. Same thing as what it says on the rest of the box. So yeah, that's cool. Same thing on the other side that's on the left side. It's also on the right. And then, yeah, we already saw the bottom. So yeah, that's the entire package. So pretty cool. I like the design. Very reminiscent to the rest of the Predators that we have gotten so far from Hot Toys. Like the Wolf Predator that was released a few years ago. Similar to that one. Really cool. So for the packaging, I think I'm gonna give it I'll give it a 9. Yeah, 9 sounds good because it's pretty cool. So yeah, there you have it. All right, guys, that does it for the packaging. Now we're gonna move on to the next category. All right, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I gotta tell you guys that even with or without the biomask on, it looks 100% like the feral predator from the movie. I know they did some updates or upgrades, the way you want to look at it, from the prototype to the actual release. But yeah, it looks really, really good. I guess we'll start with the biomask, since he's already wearing it. Yeah, 100% just like it was captured in the movie. The paint applications, it actually looks like bone, which is really cool. Yeah, and you could see, just like in the movie, how the mandibles like are still exposed. They're not covered up by the mask. So that's real cool. And on the sides, you can see some areas, like there's some holes to the actual face itself. So yeah, that's real cool. And just underneath the bone, you could see the metal. So that's pretty cool too. Yeah, real nice. And the mask is attached with a magnet, so it's easy to take off. Show you guys the face itself. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'd say 100% just how it looked like in the movie. So yeah, from all angles. And as you guys saw in the beginning of the review, he does have a swap out mouth, so you can make it look like he's roaring with the mandibles wide open. So that's cool. Yeah. Nice paint applications too. The glossiness of the skin texture is very well captured. That's how it looked like in the movie. The bug eyes, real nice too. But like I said before, I don't like the design of this predator. Yeah, he looks too much like a cockroach. So yeah, that just it doesn't scream predator to me. So yeah. And I get it. That's what they were going for, an insect look to this predator, but still, it's it's too different to a predator. Almost to the point of being not a predator at all. So yeah. But that's no fault on Hot Toys part. Uh they captured how he actually looks very well from the movie. So yeah, let me just put his mask back on. Unfortunately, I got a defective biomask. The light up function doesn't want to work. I followed the instructions. I used different cables and everything. I made sure it was plugged in right, and it doesn't want to turn on. So unfortunately, you guys aren't going to get to see that in this video. I did ask for a replacement biomask. I got this from alteregocomics.com, and I sent them email. They have really good customer service. So they haven't responded to me yet, probably because it's the weekend and they're not working right now, but I'm pretty sure they'll get back to me, and yeah, we'll see what happens from there. But if I don't get a replacement, that's fine. I wasn't planning on using that function very much anyway. So yeah. But I mean, it does suck that, because he mainly uses the targeting laser to shoot the harpoon gun, or spear gun, I should say. So yeah, it's if I want to pose it with the spear gun, it's gonna suck that I can't turn on the light to use that. So oh well, it is what it is. But anyway, I'll keep you guys updated and let you guys know when I receive a response from Alter Ego Comics, and see what they say. I'm hoping that it is the biomask that's defective and it's not the backpack on his back that's causing it not to turn on. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has had that issue with this figure. If you have had that issue, if you own this figure, let me know in the comments below. I don't know how common that is. But anyway, as for the likeness, I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10. Real nice. I am super happy that Hot Toys decided to change the hair from the prototype. They gave us these strands of hair. That's another thing that kind of puzzled me, that they went with this type style hair. I guess is to make him look more Native American, so yeah. It's very thin strands of rubber basically. But yeah, they made the right choice in going with that Hot Toys, because the prototype, it looked like more plastic, and it was clumps of plastic bunched together to make it look like it's hair, but it didn't really look right, you know. It looks a lot more screen accurate with these thin strands of rubber, so I'm glad they decided to go with that. That's why it's gonna get a 10 out of 10. But as for the design itself from the movie, that it doesn't have the dreadlocks. Again, as I'm puzzled as to why they went with this style of hair, but yeah, you know, like I said before, it's just too different. It might as well be from a different planet than the Yautja Prime. But anyway, yeah, 10 out of 10 score for the likeness. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the next category. All right, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And yeah, this, although the outfit is pretty simple compared to most Predator outfits, they still nailed it pretty darn good. Uh, Especially the details on the body. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a quick 360 view of the whole outfit. We already talked about the biomask, so we'll skip over that. Um, I want to start with this skirt piece. As you can see, he does have the trophies that he got when he first arrived on Earth, I believe. So, like I said before, he hunted the snake, and then the wolf, and then the bear. And here you could see he does have the skull from the wolf. And over here is the skull from the snake. And the skull from the snake still has blood on it, like he just finished skinning it. Which I don't think makes very much sense, because he killed the snake first and then he killed the wolf second. So I think it should have been the wolf skull to have blood on it, like the paint detail with the blood on it, instead of the snake skull. But whatever. It is what it is. Still good. And over here we see, I don't know what this weapon is called. It's kind of like a boomerang type thing. But here it's all folded and curled up, and he has it like holstered on his skirt piece. So that's cool. And the skirt piece itself is pretty cool too. Very good paint detail and sculpting. It's all plastic, so yeah. There's it's a soft plastic, so there is some bend to it. So yeah. And then there's a little cloth below the I guess it's supposed to be some kind of metal of the skirt piece, but It's all sculpted plastic. Yeah. So, and then you got the I don't know what you would call them, leg wraps, ankle wraps, or ankle warmers. So that's also sculpted plastic, and it's in two pieces. One for the feet and one for the ankles or shins. And all like all the skin and yeah, it's got like scars all over his body, and the glossiness of the skin texture too. Uh, Everything, the little pigmentations of the skin, it's all painted very good. Like, yeah, excellent detail. Then when we get to the torso, also very good. Uh, they decided to upgrade this as well. The Because in the prototype, it was all sculpted plastic, very hard, and it had a cut across the torso, like on the abs for articulation. But they decided to go with a rubber torso, so they put the cut of the abs underneath the rubber, which in my point of view is a good call. I'm glad they did that because it makes it look more real. So yeah. Although I am worried how long this rubber is going to last. I'll just have to take good care of it and make it last as long as I can. Because, rubber doesn't last forever. So, yeah. But it's kind of weird in a way, because they decided to do that for the torso, but they didn't do it for the arms. You can still see it's all sculpted plastic. You can see the joints. So yeah, I don't know. Weird call. I mean, if they're gonna go with the rubber torso, might as well just go all out, and give us the rubber legs and rubber arms too. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, the detail on the torso is very, very good too. The paint applications, I, it's yeah, like I don't know. There's like a stripe here in the middle of his abs and chest, where it's like pink. I wonder why they decided to go with that design in the movie, but whatever. Yeah, so, he's got the scars too. So basically, a mark for every battle that he's been in. I think the one of these scars on his legs is from when he was battling the wolf. It managed to bite a good chunk on his leg. So yeah. And then you got the little spikes here on his neck. I think those are supposed to be kind of like what a bug has on its body. It's got those little, I don't know what you call them, but they're little tiny spiky hairs that come out of the body. I think that's what it's supposed to represent. But yeah, good pigmentation and pattern on the skin, on the torso, and the arms too. Real nice. And then when we go to his wrist gauntlets, those are very accurate too, just like in the movie. And then you can see also the symbols, the Yautja symbols or writing on his gauntlets here too, which is very accurate to the movie too. Real cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he used this gauntlet here, because you see those 3 circles. Those were like bombs that he set off in the movie to kill a whole group of people. So yeah, that's cool that they managed to capture that too. Same thing with this gauntlet. It's got the Yautja writing on it too. And this is where you would put the wrist blades in. I don't know, but usually Hot Toys gives us like different versions of the wrist blades, but we only have one pair with this feral predator. Usually they give us like shorter ones to make it look like they're not extended. They're still inside the gauntlet, but they're still kind of poking out, you know? I don't know if the feral predator in the movie was like that. I don't know if they were fully retracted to where you couldn't see them, or if they were just poking out like normal. But yeah, Hot Toys just gave us one pair of extendable wrist blades, so yeah, I don't know. Uh, so yeah, and then you also get the backpack here. I guess this would be his medical pack. He never used it in the movie, so yeah. Or maybe he did. I just don't remember. I might be wrong. It might not be a medical pack at all, but he did have it. And this is basically where you would plug the biomask into. You could see the cable on the top there poking out. And on the bottom is where the plug for the USB port, it's a USB Type-C plug-in, would go. It's kind of weird why they decided to place it there, because the stand is in the way, you know, the C-clamp. So I don't know how you would plug that there, you know. But we'll get into that once we get to the accessories. Anyway, the backpack is pretty nice too. But you see the retracted spear here. So that attaches to his back with magnets. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And same thing with the spear gun. You could attach that to the other side of his back on this side. That's where you would attach the spear gun. The only problem I have with the spear gun and the retracted spear is that the magnets aren't strong enough. They're very weak and they could easily fall off the back. So I don't know if it's the magnets in the weapons or the magnets in the back that are causing that. But yeah, they should have used stronger magnets. Because it feels like with the smallest movement or vibration, they'll just fall off, you know? So that's a problem with the outfit. But yeah, I think I covered everything for the outfit. So I'm gonna knock down a point because of what I said before about the skulls. How the wolf skull should have been the bloody one instead of the snake. And the magnets, the problem with the magnets, I think, yeah, that'll both those things will cause the category of outfit to lose a point. So yeah. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. All right, so that does it for the outfit. Now we're gonna move on to the next category. All right, so we've made it to the category of articulation. And as usual, we'll start it off from the top and work our way all the way to the bottom. So the head feels like it's on a ball and socket joint. So right at the base of the neck, you get a good articulation. I'd say a full 360-degree turn all the way around. Good pivot from side to side. You could look up pretty good and down pretty good too. I think there's also articulation on the base of the neck, but it's behind the rubber or the skin. So yeah, you got 2 points right there of articulation. And when we work our way down to the shoulders, you can move a full 360-degree turn all the way around. No hindrances from the outfit or anything. Pretty much free moving. He can swivel from the shoulders maybe an inch, which is pretty cool. I've never seen that before, especially in a predator. And he's got good shoulder shrug too. The only problem is that there's a gap if you dip or row the shoulder. There will be a gap, so you just gotta remember to cover that up. So there is that, and then he can do a T pose as well. So full extension of the arms. And then when we work our way down to the elbows, it looks like it's a single bend, so he can't go all the way, but it's still a decent amount of articulation at the elbow. As you can see, still good. And it also swivels. I believe you can get a full 360 all the way around. And there's no rotation on the gauntlets, so you can't swivel those. They're basically just like the Wolf Predator if you own that figure. They're pretty much stuck to his forearms in that position. Then when we get to the wrists, they're not your typical Hot Toys wrists. I believe they're ball pegs this time. Kind of like what they use for ankles. So, yeah. So you get those at the wrists. It makes me feel confident. I mean, they do give you a extra pair of wrist ball pegs, but they're pretty thick, so I don't think there's any fear of you actually breaking them unless, like, you do it on purpose, you know what I mean? Unless you physically use a lot of force and break them on purpose, you know? So, yeah. I feel pretty confident in these wrist ball pegs. So yeah, there's that. Um, when we get to the torso, as I said before, there is ab crunch. Uh, so it's below the rubber skin of the torso. So yeah, you can get him to or crunch his abs maybe 2 points. That's as far as I've gone, at least. And there is slight waist swivel, and he can pivot from side to side a little bit too, as well. Um, I did try to uh, make him arch his back from the abs, but I don't think he can do that. He just goes, he just stands straight up from the torso. So that's pretty much as far as it'll go. But if you do want him to arch his back, I think it'd be better just to do it from the waist, so he can bend his back from there, from the waist. And when we get to the crotch to thigh area, the instructions say that he does have a drop down leg articulation, but I tried it. It didn't work. Maybe I have to pull harder, but I'm afraid to break the figure, so I gave up. So yeah, but he does kick forward pretty far without using the drop down leg feature. I haven't tried kicking it back much, but I believe it's typical of any Hot Toys figure where he doesn't kick back too far. He can close his legs pretty close, the closest that I've ever seen on a Hot Toy. And as for the splits, you can get him to go wide, but this is pretty much as wide as I have gone. Maybe he can go farther, but I haven't tried it. Because I mean, the legs do attach on ball joints, so it's ball and socket on the crotch to the leg. But yeah, so I haven't tried to get a full extension of the splits with this figure. When we go on down to... Oh, that's another thing too. He doesn't have thigh swivel. So be aware of that. When we get to the knees, it's weird. So he has ratcheted knees, but he doesn't have ratcheted elbows. I found that kind of weird. But so yeah, and also another thing that's weird is that he has shin swivel. So you can rotate the shins. Anyway, moving on down to the feet. The ankles, when you try to rock them or pivot them, you get pretty much zero rocking motion with the ankles. So you can't make them stand really well when you're trying to rock the ankles. So be aware of that. But he does have good up and down movement. So if you try to angle the toes upward or downward, he can do that. But that's pretty much all you get from the ankles. I mean, I think you still can swivel them from the ankles, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I think that covers everything on the articulation. I'm gonna say that it's pretty much your average Predator hot toy figure in terms of articulation. So don't expect anything too new. Like maybe the shoulder swivel and the shin swivel. That's new. I've never seen that before. And also the ball wrist pegs. That's new too. But yeah, it's nothing big that they've changed. Just little things here and there. So as for the articulation, because it's just like any other Hot Toys Predator figure for the most part, I'm gonna give it the same score. 6 out of 10. Like, yeah, there's definitely some improvements that they could have done, like give us movable forearm gauntlets, things like that. So, yeah. So there you go, guys. That's it for the articulation. Now we're going to move on to the next category. All right, so we made it to the final category, which is accessories. And as usual, we'll start off with hands first. So he comes with a total of 6 hands. And I gotta tell you guys, the paint detail is bad. The sculpt isn't so good as well. I feel like his fingers are short and stubby. On some hands, like the nails are shorter, or the claws are shorter, and the other ones on other ones it feels like they're longer. So I don't know. It feels like they just did a little bit of sloppy work there. Other than that, they do the job, you know. At least this time they did give us some spread open hands like these. So, but now the problem is that they didn't give us any fists. So that kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. They can never get it right. When they give us fists, they don't give us spread open hands, and when they give us spread open hands, they don't give us fists. So we could have got that. That would have been nice to have. But yeah. Moving on, we do get one pair of spread open mandibles, and we get a pair of slightly closed mandibles, which is something that they should have done with the wolf predator. I find it really stupid that they didn't do that with him. And then you also get his biomask, which we already talked about before. Hopefully I could get a replacement for this one. And then so when you open the figure out of the packaging, he does come wearing the spread open hands. I failed to mention that. So yeah, he also gets this hand for holding the spear gun, which he holds it with his left hand. I guess he's left-handed. I don't know. I can't remember from the movie. But yeah, he comes with that. This is a gripping hand, and I believe it's for holding the metal boomerang. So yeah, there is that. And then we get a pair of hands for holding the giant spear, which he's got it in 2 parts right now. It's interchangeable basically. So you could have it looking like this, the spear, and it's also got like these two little ports. You can see the one peg there. So you can plug that into the other side over here and make it into one giant spear. Or if you don't like that, because it is kind of flimsy when you attach it that way, so if you don't want to struggle with it, like, falling apart, whatever, uh, it does give you an extra handle that's already attached together. So, you just plug the blades in through those ports, and you'll get your giant spear. And they also give you a retractable or a retracted giant spear. So this one you can place on his back. It's a shame that we couldn't get one that is retractable, instead of just a static piece like this. Because they did do that with the Wolf Predator, and I believe they did it with the Scar Predator from AVP and the Celtic Predator. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they found that maybe it won't last if it actually is retractable. So they decided to just give us a static retracted spear. And then you also get the metal boomerang. I know I'm not naming it by its proper name, but I don't know what it's called. So yeah. I remember him using it once in the movie. He killed a guy from long distance, which is pretty cool with it. And that's about the only time I remember him using it. And then you get two small spears for the spear gun, or harpoons if you want to call them that. So that's pretty cool. It was really awesome seeing it in action in the movie, the spear gun, because it's pretty much a homing projectile. Anything he points his laser to, it'll track and pierce right through it. Yeah. And then you get a set of wrist blades. These are plastic. So yeah, they'll attach to his right gauntlet, as you saw in an earlier pose that I did. You also get a spare set of ball wrist pegs. And these are the ones I was telling you about that's new, that I haven't seen them done before. At least not on a Predator figure. And then you get his shield, which is also very badass when he was using it in the movie. So you basically, to attach it, it goes on his left gauntlet, and you just have to pull that metal section out with the Yautja writing. You just pull that out and peg the shield with that peg, because it's got a hole in the gauntlet there. So yeah, and it works really well. I thought it would be a little flimsy, and I was kind of afraid to take it off because it is a peg. I thought the peg might break, but it's pretty easy, to tell you the truth, in my experience from using it. So yeah, real nice that they gave us that. So that brings us to the base. So I'll go over the pros first of it. They did a really nice paint job, and he's able to stand pretty good on it. But that's pretty much it for the pros. So Yeah. As for the cons, there's a lot wrong with this. I believe this is firewood, like a fireplace, and it's kind of loose. And I know it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to come off at all. So when I pulled it out of the packaging, that's kind of how it was, and that's pretty cheap if you ask me. Like, yeah, I don't think it should do that. And then the paint job on the wood here, I don't know why it's got this glossy finish. Like wood shouldn't look like that unless it had just rained or something. But I don't remember it raining in the movie, so yeah, that's weird. Anyway, they also give us this C clamp pole. Uh, I don't know why. Like, the Predator doesn't fly, so I don't know why they couldn't just given us a regular crotch grabber. I know he's got the skirt piece, but that wouldn't get in the way because kind of like what they did with the Hot Toys Wolf Predator, they just shaped the hook differently. They made it thinner on the back so it could fit under his skirt piece. I think that's what they should have done here instead of giving us a C clamp, because with the C clamp, as you guys know, he's got a rubber torso and it wraps around that. So if you leave the C clamp around that torso, I'm afraid it's gonna damage the rubber on the torso. I think it's gonna dent it over a while. Yeah, I mean, if you leave it for a long period of time, I think that's potentially what it'll do. Um, so I'm thinking of just putting the figure without the pole. Um, and I'm also actually thinking whether I should use this base or not. The other problem I have with it is the axe, Naru's axe. I didn't mention that in the while we're talking about the accessories. It is detachable from the base, but yeah, see, there you go. That's one of my points. It doesn't securely attach to the wood on the base, so yeah, that's a big problem. But as for the axe itself, it's painted really good and it's got all the cool details on it. It looks like actual wood too. Um, One thing, it could have come with like the attachable rope, because she kind of uses it in that way where she throws it and then she makes it come back to herself by pulling on the rope. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, it was pretty cool in the movie. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't attach securely to the base. It falls off real easy. So yeah, there's just this base is really bad, guys. I'm just gonna come straight out and say it. There's not a lot of room for him to stand on either. So if you want to do like a dynamic pose with his legs spread out, it won't work because there's very limited space on it. So yeah, nothing but problems with this base. I thought it would be cooler, but it's not. Also, the arrows that you see sticking out here, they are detachable. When it comes out of the package, you have to attach them yourself. But yeah, that does it for the accessories. Yeah, we could have got a lot more accessories, definitely. We could have got a pair of fists for the hands. We could have come with that bear trap as a weapon that he used to clamp on that one guy. He killed him that way. he could have come with the severed arm, like a stump for an arm. Kind of like what they did with the City Hunter Predator Hot Toys. Because if you guys remember in the movie, he did accidentally cut his own arm off with the shield when he was fighting Naru. So we could have got that. That would have been cool. So yeah, I think that it's lacking in the accessories department. Definitely could have got a better base than what they gave us. So I think I'm gonna have to give the accessories a 5 out of 10. So yeah. So yeah, that does it for the accessories. I'm gonna put a pause here, and we're gonna go over how the giant spear works. I want to show you guys that. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys how the giant spear works. When you take it out of the package, it's gonna come looking like this. So as you can see, it's already got the handle over here on this side, and it's extended. Same thing with this one. It's gonna come like this with the handle already attached. So what you can do, if you want to change it up, you can attach, see the peg here. You could attach that peg to this hole, and you got to make sure it's right. So it's going to attach that way. And there you go. You get the giant spear. But like I said, it's not very secure, so it could easily fall off like that. See? So luckily, what Hot Toys has done, they gave us a handle that's already attached. See? So you can't break this one apart. It's basically one solid piece, and what you do, you attach the extended sections. So you take the handle off like that, and you can attach them to either side. It doesn't really matter, but you're gonna see a hole there. You just insert the hole, this way, and it does make me kind of nervous because these are long pegs, so it makes me nervous to put them on because you can break them. But so you just got to make sure that they fit in the right way. And there you go. That's one side. And now for the other, you just do the same thing. Take the handle off. Easy peasy. And then attach it the same way. I hope I'm doing this right. So I'm gonna do it this way. There we go. Slide it all the way in, and there you go. So yeah, it makes me nervous swapping it out like that, because it does feel like you can break it. So I would just advise caution when you're doing that. But when you do actually complete the look, it looks pretty freaking awesome, I gotta tell you guys. Because look at that. You get the full extended spear. So that's how that works. And this is just a static piece, like I said before. You can't really do anything with it. It's the retracted giant spear, and all it does is just like attach to his back. You can have him hold it, but I don't know if you'd want to. But there you go, guys. That's how the giant spear works. All right, so back to the review. All right, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, guys, this figure gets a 47 out of 60. I know it's a really low score, guys, but it is what it is. The movie was good, not great. Like I said, you know, it could have done with some improvements. And then, you know, the figure itself, the base, as you can see, you can't even fit it in a detolf because it adds like an extra inch to his height. So he won't fit in the detolf with it. So, yeah, and then, you know, there's a lot of problems with the base too, like I mentioned before. All the things that are wrong with it. So, yeah, you can't even display it, you know? So, yeah. But, you know, still, with all its flaws and imperfections from the movie and all that, I still enjoy it, you know? Still a good figure. Just decided to show you this one last shot with the rest of the characters from the Predator universe, like Dutch over here and the Wolf Predator. As you can see, the Feral Predator is like 2 or 3 inches taller than Wolf. So yeah, and he's even standing on a base too. So that goes to show you the massive size difference. But yeah, guys, that wraps it up. That's another review done and in the bag. And if you like this review video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. All right, bye, guys.